Yes. It. Okay, we are live. So literally just before I started this stream, I discovered that TikTok live. Sweet. Make sure that this is okay as well too. Perfect. So that's cool. Okay, I'm testing out Instagram for the first time. So the truth is that if anybody's joining me over there, it might be a little chaotic in terms of like you actually seeing the screen. So this is all just a test for me. Let me see what it looks like if I actually switch side by side to. Can you see the screen? How would that look? Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works out. Okay, so that's a test. We'll figure out if that's actually gonna work on Instagram. Yeah, see, that's a problem. That is a problem. Yeah, you know what? We might have to come back to this live stream thing on Instagram because yeah, I don't think I have a way to properly do this correctly on Instagram. Anyway, um, for those who are on YouTube, which is my main sort of channel, welcome. And it feels good to be back. I've been off of uh, off of the internet for a couple of days now, and I've been kind of somewhat. How would I describe myself as? Well, sick for sure. Definitely, I've been sick. My voice is still recovering. By the way, hang on a second. I gotta change one thing here. So edit secondary display. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's this. Oh, I gotta do one more thing. So settings, yeah. So I'm gonna figure out the vertical aspect ratio on Instagram and TikTok and all the different platforms. Right now, it's like you gotta go to my YouTube in order to kind of figure out what I'm actually doing. For those people that are on that channel, I'll keep mentioning it. This is new to me, so I'm really just trying to experiment and try to learn as I go along. However, on the YouTube, I got to do a couple of things. So I need to just change my settings here, just to make sure that we're stable to the display. And which one is which? So that's the middle one, right? So that's this guy. This guy. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna make that bigger. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, you know what, I Instagram will be interesting to see what happens there. So, um, okay, well, welcome whoever is listening and whoever is joined. And so we're going to be building a budget app today. I want to build an actual budget financial app. And the goal is going to be that we can, it's 2026. So we're going to basically just kind of plan out our calendar for the year, not calendar, sorry, our budgeting for the year. And I figured why not build an actual app to do it? There's obviously 100 different budget apps on the internet already. So we're not doing any favors by building another one, but in the spirit of 2026 and it being a new year, I figure it is a good opportunity to build some sort of planner that will help us to kind of plan things out for the new year. So with that, hang on a second, I gotta do one more thing to my display. That's why I'm a little distracted here. So there we go. Done. So I got a notification that TikTok actually has a proper live streaming app for Mac, which is cool, but for some reason it's not allowing me. So I'm gonna probably have to drop the TikTok thing for today. We'll go there. Okay, fair enough. All right. So what are we doing today? We're gonna be building, like I said, a brand new a brand new app from scratch. It's gonna be focused on helping you to plan your budget for 2026. And it's going to be a free app. We're going to go from start to finish. We're going to do the whole thing live. No strings attached. And we're going to make sure that hopefully people can follow along. Okay, so let's begin. Let's start. So first of all, let me just I gotta do one more thing here first and then we'll actually start. Just bear with me for one more second here. Just want to make sure that I got our goals and our mission up in the statement. So at least. Okay, so first of all, welcome. If you're new here and you've never seen me or heard about me before or you don't know any single thing about me, my name is Dwayne and I focus on building vibe coding production grade apps live. Basically, I focus on teaching you how to build vibe coded apps. Hang on a second, what am I missing? Oh, sorry. One more. Edit text. I want to get rid of this. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, yes. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be building a app from scratch. We're going to be building a app that's going to help us to kind of plan out just a couple of things around budgeting, planning for the future. It's gonna have like a yearly budget planner. It's gonna have a monthly budget planner. It's gonna have sort of like your income versus your expense. It's gonna have just an overall sort of like simple basic layout. We're gonna make it mobile friendly first, so that it kind of focuses on just the core. So what I'm going to do right off the top is we're just going to jump to ChatGPT. I'm not going to waste any time and try to talk too much about my community or any single thing. We're just going to jump right into it, and hopefully people will join in. This is the first live for the year. And like I said, if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok or any one of these other platforms, I haven't figured out how to do vertical properly. So you can watch me live here on YouTube. So if you actually care, to actually watch this, you can watch it live on YouTube. Yeah. So that's that. Okay, enough of that for now. Okay, so what are we doing today? So let's talk with ChatGPT right off the top and get ChatGPT to at least do some basic things for us. Okay, so first thing we want to do is say, I'd like to build a mobile app first that will focus on budgeting and focus on budget planning using some of the criteria. We're going to try to build it in 3 different phases. Phase 1 is we're going to do sort of the UX design portion of it. And phase 2 is we're going to do the back end. And then we're going to do the front end. We're going to deploy it all to Cloudflare. Use some of this following details as a criteria. Okay, so we got that. We're going to paste. Oops, not this. I want to paste this. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to try to get some of the foundational stuff in terms of a PRD document up and running. And what is the goal here? The goal is to set up a outline so that we have sort of the foundation so that the vibe coding application that we're building can work correctly. So right now we're going to go with a dashboard. We're going to go with a monthly drill down. We're going to give you the ability to add transactions. We're going to give you the ability to add reoccurring rules. And then we're going to have all the categories, right? And the UX, we're going to keep it smooth, streamline, every single thing, action and immediate, cards, graph, yes. Drill durable. Phase 2, we're going to do the back end, data model, JSON export, etc. Data model for transactions, P&L engine. We're going to do Cloudflare. We're going to use a D1 database on the back end. We're going to use workers. We're going to use R2 for storing sort of the receipts, etc. And durable objects if we want real-time collaboration, which is not going to happen in this particular video. Phase 3, we're going to put together all that foundation. So I'm going to try to go really, really fast on this and hope that people just kind of keep up with things all together. So first of all, we're going to copy all of this statement here. And what I want you to do, I'm going to use, so I'm still back and forth on the tools to use, but we got two different directions that we could use. We're going to try both of them. We're going to use Lovable, right? I like Lovable. I've been having a sweet spot for Lovable recently. So I'm going to tell it to do this. And then we're going to do the same thing in Google Stitch. All right, why Google Stitch? Because Google Stitch will allow me to kind of focus on the design aspect of things first. So new features, Thinking Pro. Okay, so, and we're going to do mobile friendly first. So I don't want to use Flash, I want to use Thinking with Pro. And what we're doing here is we're basically just allowing the AI to just kind of come up with whatever UI it thinks would be necessary based on the information that we've given it so far. And we're going to use that as sort of a base point. We're going to use that as sort of entry level to kind of get things going. So let's see what Google Stitch kind of comes up with. And we'll go from there. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, you can't see. Hey, sir. More joined. Yeah, so like I said, my Instagram is I don't know how to work it properly. I'm still new to all of this, so. But okay, right. So while this is cooking, we're using Google Sketch. We're gonna see what that comes up with. We'll also come preparing Lovable. We'll see what it comes up with for the back end. In the meantime, we're gonna push forward a little bit, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get some of the back end stuff going as fast as possible, so that we can kind of push things forward. So Cloudflare. What are you working on today? Hey, good question. We're working on a budgeting app, mobile budgeting app. Good to see you, Mr. Codename Zulu. And welcome. It's been a while. Happy New Year's, by the way. And hopefully you had some time with your family. I think the last time I talked to you, you were putting up your Christmas tree or something like that. So welcome. Oh, this looks good. So yeah, we're building a budgeting app. We're building a personal budgeting app that you can use to do your own personal finances, etc. And yeah, it's going to help you to sort of calculate sort of your profit and loss. And I mean, there's tons of budgeting app obviously on the internet. So, you know, we're not going to win any awards by building one of these. But one of the frustrating things that I've had personally, my experience with budgeting app is that I've used quite a few budgeting apps in the past. And one of the biggest frustrations that I run into is that I get really comfortable with it. The very first one that I ever used was Mint. I don't know if you guys know Mint. And then QuickBooks bought them, and then they just shut them down. And then I use Pocket, and then I use YNAB, and it all seems to be what ended up happening. They start out great, then they get bought over in a merger and acquisition, or they they just get acqui-hire or something, and then the app, no, there's no development, there's no nothing. And so I kind of got burned by using budgeting apps so many times that now, honestly, I don't care to put my information in another budgeting app. And I know that sounds a little naive. I'm not talking about like banking and portfolio apps and that kind of stuff. That's a different conversation. I'm talking about like household budgeting, like between you and like your partner, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're building here. We're building a sort of a personal financing budgeting app for you and your partner to kind of just keep track of your just overall like income within your household. That's it. It's just very localized to the house in itself. So that's what we're going to be trying to put out here. So let's see what we got. You've been working on a few things. Yes, I have. I've been working on quite a few things. How do I keep this? Uh, you know what? Let me just figure out how to do trying to figure out where my comments are going, or where is it going on the screen? Hang on a second. Oh, that goes off screen. Sorry. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to pull it back on screen. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Damn it. How do I get that back? Yeah, no, I have been working on a few things. How do I get that back? So I dragged the comment window off screen, and now I don't know how to get it back. There's this one here. Great, of course. So anyway, we're gonna keep moving forward. Hopefully, I'll figure out how to get back to comments back on screen. But I'll be reading the comments. So yeah, anyway, so we got our budgeting app here. Now let me see what Lovable. Lovable is still going. And then we're going to make a sort of a quick pulse decision as to which one is the best thing. Now, interestingly enough, this is actually put in a calculator, or is it a calculator? No, not a calculator, just basically a punch pad so you can put the numbers in, save transaction, put in the category. One of the things that I want to be able to do is basically just be able to snap receipts really fast, right? So on this here, let's say, can you improve the UI so we can be able to snap receipts really fast? Just take a picture and just have it store the receipts of the images. So that's something that I definitely want to have included, because as we all know, you go on online, you buy something, and then you try to throw away the receipts, or you just put it in the car and you never actually look at it again. So let's see. I've been working on. Okay, here we go. It came back up. So let me see if I could size it properly here, so we could look at it. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I got your comments better now. Yeah. So hang on one more second. Make this size a little bit smaller. There. Okay. Now I could read through something. Okay, I've been working with Open Code CLI myself for a few apps and tools. How do you like it? How do you like Open Code tool? You know what? I haven't been playing around with so many different platforms, but I'm actually curious to know how you actually what's been your experience with it. Okay, so while that's coming, okay, so here we got a plus button. Two more windows are coming in. Ah, this looks horrible. Really? Come on, Lovable. You normally give me something better than this. Yeah, this does not look good. This is very, very basic. Very, very basic. Not impressed. And is that because I ran out of credits, maybe? Not sure. Or maybe they're just giving me the cheaper app built-in because I'm not paying for it. Anyway, this definitely looks better. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, Google Stitch has definitely become my go-to for designing screens. No question about it. It's pretty nice. Excellent for People who are on budget don't have funds to work with Claude CLI. Yeah, no, I hear you. Claude is pretty pricey. Um, yeah, you know what? I should check it out. You know what? Maybe I'll do a video on that one. I'll check it out for sure because I'm definitely looking for alternatives. But I gotta be honest, man. Like Claude today is so good right now that it's like it's hard to fight it. It's hard to fight it. It's like it's to the point where it's like, you know what? Just take my money. Like we're just gonna build on it. So yeah, I hear you. Totally hear you on that one. So okay, we're gonna go with this. This is our receipt. So scan a receipt. I like it. I don't know where that button is gonna go, but I like it. I like the function. I like the income, I like the expense. Month of December. Okay, I like the monthly breakdown. That's cool too. Year trajectory. I like that. Income, expenses, net profit, new transaction. Good. Okay, let's run with this. So one of the cool things that Google Stitch now have is I can now take this entire thing and export it um, to to oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind here. To their build platform. Now I just got to figure out how to share. Yeah, so if we go to share, how do I do this? Here, generate, preview, more. There we go, export, this one here. So now you can export it, and then I want all AI Studio. So basically it should be, the UI for this is not the best, but here we're gonna do export AI Studio. And that basically puts all of them. We're gonna put it over to AI Studio so that AI Studio can basically build it. It's pretty excellent. Those who are on a budget, I hear you. Yeah, 100% I agree with you on the Claude thing. Yeah, even if you stop access using their API, open code, you're starting to see there was competition. Oh, interesting. As in, yeah, there's definitely some wars going on for sure in this business, and I think it's just going to continue for a while until like we have some clear winners and losers. But right now, it's like everybody's fighting for market share. So yeah, it's gonna be rough out there for a bit, but yeah, no, I hear you on the pricing, no question. Okay, so build me an app with screens that look like this. You can hot link images from the HTML. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go with build. So this is the one thing that I really like with the Google playbook right now is that I can go from Google Stitch, which is very, very focused on the design language. It's still experimental because, it's Google and they reserve the right to kill anything at any given time. But I can go from this to Google AI Studio, taking those images and apparently HTML, I guess. Is that it actually HTML? And then turning it into actual production code, which is pretty cool. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And while this is coming up, let's highlight a couple of things about the community just to talk about it for a bit. So good news is we're up to 73 members in total now in the community. And while I like this, I actually got a few people to come and respond to. I haven't actually responded to a few of you guys, so I'm going to get back to you in a bit, probably today for sure. I've been sick this week here, so the truth is my energy level has just been completely shot and haven't really think. This is a really interesting question here that Ramon asked about seeking advice about multi-tenant database SaaS in a NoSQL database. So this is a little bit more advanced of a question, and I wanted to kind of do it justice by properly answering it with a couple of diagrams, etc., just to kind of make sure that it's clear, not just for him but for other people. But in a nutshell, Like the way how I would think about this is with no SQL, you want to be dealing with things like configuration, settings, user profile, like all the stuff that is like very static, kind of could kind of store state in a class, if you will, right? Like I think that's how I would be thinking about it. So I would shove all that stuff there, and any single thing transactional where I'm doing calculations, averages, that kind of stuff. I want to try to keep it in a relational database for the efficiency and the speed, and obviously the normalization of the data. So that's kind of the two classes I would kind of keep it in, and I would have sort of both worlds. That's how I've been building all of my systems. There are some people that try to do transactional relation type stuff inside of a NoSQL world. It can work, but in my experience, it starts to bog down when you start to get to real heavy load if you don't sort of partition the data like aggressively ahead of time to kind of scale with the load. And that just becomes a real large challenge. And even if you partition it, when you want to run reports on top of that data, you still run into a problem. It's the reason why Microsoft comes out with this thing. They call it Sybase, I think it is. SYN Synapse, SYN UPS. Oh my goodness, can't totally snipe BASE. I'm totally messing up the name now. Synapse. There we go. Azure Synapse. There we go. This is their new database layer type of thing that does analytical stuff on top of these large workloads that kind of goes across this partition problem, right? Like it's supposed to address this issue, but now you're into like big money, right? You're into like proper money for this kind of stuff. So yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna get back to this question. I'm gonna answer it in a lot more detail and just kind of killing time here while I kind of talk about stuff here. But nice. So allow this app, sure. And can we change this to mobile? See what it looks like. Yeah, okay. Love this. Love, like, definitely like this. Like, this is really cool. Being able to see the trends up and down. What is this next and previous arrow for? Not sure. This is giving me an indication that it's up or down. What is the plus sign for? So I could add an income. I can add an expense. That's great. I could choose a category. Yeah, I'm liking this so far. Transactions. So these are all the different transactions that came in. Perfect. And then these are receipts that I basically snapped. And I can click on scan now. This scan now button is, yeah, so there's a problem with the scan now button. But you know what? There's a problem with the scan now button. It's we're currently embedded in one of the images. It should be independent, floating in its own section. So, but this, you know what? This actually looks really good. It's compelling, right? Like, I got a transaction section. I got an overview section. I could see my yearly trajectory of income versus expense. The only thing I'm not seeing, so income for the year, this is year to date, or is this expense? This is expense to date. So, interesting. So, you know what would be cool? I want to be able to see not just my income for the year and know whether it's up or down. I want to be able to see my total income and total expense for the year to figure out whether I'm up or down. So I'm going to just add that. I want to be able to see my total income for the year and total expense for the year to figure out whether I'm actually up or down, not just knowing whether my income is up or down for the comparison from last year. So basically, what is the total amount of income and what is the total amount of expense based on the projections for the year to figure out whether I'm up or down in the year. And I also want to have a space for savings and investments so that I can add those from the income. I could say, okay, I want to allocate X amount for savings and I want to allocate X amount for investments. Okay, we're gonna wait on that. We're gonna let this run, and we're gonna keep moving forward. 100% agree with you, Claude. Stop. All right. So what do we have? Yeah, so Google Stitch. We're gonna figure out how to do the Instagram thing because yeah, live streaming is just totally messed up on that. So join free community 5 code in. Let me see if I could actually see if I could change that on Instagram. I'm experimenting with everything here. So if I code to profit. Vibe code to profit. Join. See if I do it like that. See if that helps. All right. So Google AI Studio is almost ready. Did it fix that problem? Yes, it did. And I'm going to ask it to basically just add I think the previous and next is about, so you could see the year. You could group things by the year. Maybe that's why this previous and next button there. Maybe. Transactions. October. Income, expenses, groceries. Net profit. Yeah, see like this, it has income versus expenses for October, but I also want to do that for the year as well too. Actually, technically, yeah, the monthly breakdown is here, but it doesn't show the year. Okay, we're going to get that in, and then we're going to move on to the next section, which is basically building the backend infrastructure and yeah, we got to figure out the TikTok thing for sure. Okay, so let's see what we got here. All right, so while that's loading, while that's coming in, I think we got most of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, I need to log in on my Cloudflare here just to get, we're going to go set up a backend for everything. So at least we can start working on the backend while we're going to download the front end and get a deployment going. Sorry, let me just get my code going in here. So 8. Okay. Okay, we're in Cloudflare, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to pick up a Cloudflare workers. So we're going to create a brand new, yeah, so we're going to create a brand new 2 apps actually. We're going to create a front end and a back end. So let's just do it right away. Actually, you know what? We'll do it differently. We're going to create it from this app itself. So what we'll do is we'll pull this down first. We'll set it up on GitHub. Let's just do that right now. And then from there, we're going to pull it again. Be easier. It'll be the easiest way to do it. GitHub. New. Let's call it a, what are we calling it? A Fordly. Let's call it a Fordly. DLY.app. Okay, so this is Fordly app, and it's going to be, yes, public We're going to keep it private for now until we could get it all properly set up. Create repository. Okay, so we got that going. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, then we're gonna go set up a new project, AI projects, new folder, FFORD, FFORDLY, affordly dash APUP, and then we're gonna click on new. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do git here for that, and while that's coming through, let's go back to Cloudflare. Let's go back to, okay, so we got our new app. Let's see what it actually did. Okay, so right, total income, this total expense, 45. Okay, so it's saying I'm up by 2023 net results. Okay, so that's fine. That's what I'm looking for, right? I want to know, am I up or down for the year based on, things that are happening, investment, savings, yada, 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 right? I want to know if I'm up for the down or down for the year overall, well built in on allocated cash, savings, investments. Perfect. Okay, I think that's a good foundation to start with, right? What do you guys think? Yeah, I think that's good. All right, let's go. So step number 2, and I actually want to get this out of the way to a mobile, like a real native mobile app. And when I say native, it's like basically like a PWA is going to be a shell wrapped around in like a Flutter shell or something like that. But let's see if we can. Oh, interesting. You know what? Let me just download it because it's going to create a new. It's going to create a new thing, and I don't want it to do that. I just want to basically dump it in. So we're going to put that
from Dwayne's MacBook Pro.
Computer stop. Okay, so we're going to dump this guy. Paste. Oops. Okay, and then let's just tell it to run this project. Can you run my project? Make sure every single thing is running correctly. Use bun. Bun, B-U-N. Okay, so we got our local project running. We got bun going. What else do we need here? Keeping boot. Build an item, readme already exists in local keyboard. It's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with this design. This design actually works really well. It's simple, straightforward, allows you to keep track of your overview, your finances. The question is, if I were to put this out as a real app, if anybody would actually use it without doing any kind of real marketing, family, friends, that sort of deal. People are very sensitive when it comes to finances, so most people don't want to put their information in the public, in an app like this, but we'll see. So hit allow terminal, yes. So I haven't actually been in Visual Studio probably for about a month now. That's how much I just kind of disappeared over the holiday. Well, probably not a month, not a full month, but maybe like definitely like 3 to 4 weeks, almost a month. Yeah, because I think the last live stream that I did was before around the 15th, I want to say. Losing track now. Okay, let's see. All right, so we got our mobile app. It's definitely working. Where is it? Here. It's definitely mobile friendly. Yeah. What does this plus sign do? This would add the expenses, add income, transactions. Yeah, this is good. I'm happy with this. Okay, so what I need now is I need the data structure for this app. So how do we do this? Can you get me the data structure for this app? For all the moving parts as JSON. Okay, we'll do it here just so we can get some speed. And while that's happening, we're going to do the deployment to Cloudflare. So we're going to kill this. Excuse me. Okay, so set upstream main, right? Yeah, why is this? Why do I have a permission problem here? Okay, so bottom line is to where we are right now is that we're just going to get a brand new app deployed over to Cloudflare, the front end at least. So at least we have thing, and then we're going to start working on the back end for this. And you'll have to excuse me while I open up cheese here so I can eat. Okay, main origin gish, successful. Fantastic. All right. Let's go back to our GitHub. Switch to repositories. Fortly app. And let's go with code. Yes, that's correct. Okay, and let's just try and get this over to Cloudflare right away. So come across the Cloudflare, connect with GitHub, choose my personal directory, click on Fortly.app, Wrangler deploy. Put a dash instead. Try to deploy. Let's see what happens. Now, generally speaking, this is where you get an error. I do have inside my build how to solve this problem. We'll see if it actually happens, because there was a couple of build errors between Cloudflare and sort of like the platforms. So let's see. Failed. Yeah, that's over the top. Yeah, so the entry point, worker, missing assets, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to do this first. Let's just copy this, just make sure that they have all the pieces here. And then we're going to push again. And while that's happening, I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to go to my classroom. I'm going to go to Cloudflare Essentials 101. I'm going to go to automated deployments. And I'm just going to copy this troubleshooting section, which I have that outlines all of the problems that you run into with this entire thing. So basically from here all the way up, there's a whole troubleshooting section. So let's just do, where's troubleshooting? What's going on here? Hang on, Control F. Trouble, there we go. Okay, so we copy from here all the way down. So this troubleshooting should get you through pretty much any single thing that has to do with this deployment problem that you'll run into. I've just noticed it. So is that, did I do a push already? All right, so that's gonna go up. We're gonna get a Wrangler file uploaded. So we don't need Lovable anymore, don't need Stitch anymore, or maybe we'll need Stitch again. ChatGPT we don't need for now. Yeah, so I definitely ran into quite a few problems trying to deploy React application on Cloudflare. And one of the biggest problems is because Cloudflare has some configuration issues and it just has a whole bunch of stuff that was just kind of misaligned with the way how React is being configured by some of the AI vendors. So this video in my classroom under Cloudflare 101 Essentials, automating your deployments, and it says 30 minutes, and that's because it took me 30 minutes to do, and I wanted to kind of keep the raw video to show the problem that you will run into in the event that it comes up in the future. However, basically the good news is that you could just copy the troubleshooting section so that the AI doesn't have to deal with this problem and it'll just figure it out based on my trial and error before, and then you don't have to necessarily deal with this pain of dealing with this sort of like nightmare mess. So if I go to the project now and I go to deployments here, so let's see, observability deployments, there we go, last build 1 minute ago. Yeah, so there we go, right? So successfully deployed, right? So basically, just to make sure that we're on the same page here. So so if you are running into any issues, literally just come in here, copy this entire troubleshooting section that has all of the outline of every single thing. I should make that more clear in this video, like where it says troubleshooting. So trouble here, yeah, troubleshooting pages. Literally just copy that entire section here because I went through all the details, all the problems. There was just a ton of issues, and just paste it inside of there, and then let the AI just rip, and it has enough information to figure out how to actually do the deployment properly, and then from there, it should be good to go. And then Cloudflare deployment should work with no issues. And now we could come here and test it by going to workers dev here. Open up a new tab, paste. Bam, there we go. Got a deployment. Right, so with this in mind, now we could actually focus on the back end because we have the front end kind of working somewhat. Right, so that's a good part about it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to this, and we're just gonna we're gonna convert this to a mono repo. So actually, I want to do this first. Let's so let's do this. Let me just put a GitHub Copilot instructions file. So generate an instructions file because it's so at least it knows about the project a little bit, and I should tell it about. I should give it some of the ChatGPT information so at least it knows about what the goals is of the project, etc. So let's do that also. You say, ah. I'm glad that you're making a connection there because yes, like I said, I've been through this before. So what I'm trying to do is document all this stuff properly so that you could just literally just copy the code in from, copy the prompt basically. So live stream app. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. To budget an app. Do this guy here. So we're gonna, yeah. So we're gonna do this. And then we're going to use that to build out the GitHub Copilot instructions file. So it's a little easier. All right. So moving on. Okay, so we got a GitHub Copilot instructions file. What we don't have is a task list. What we don't have is a thing. So let's just do that right away. Okay, so first of all, we're going to say to improve the, we're just going to create a new session. Although you don't need to do as many create new sessions as before, but this is just my habit from before. So I'm going to say, can you enhance the GitHub Copilot instruction file with the following information? Also create a docs folder and create a feature list and a task list, and then link the GitHub Copilot instructions to those reference documents. Right. So this way we at least have some structure. We got our docs details. We have our GitHub Copilot instructions file, and we just want to make sure that they're just kind of linked together. And just to be clear here, the GitHub Copilot instructions file is kind of localized to the GitHub Copilot implementation of this. However, if you're using Claude or you're using every other agent will use agents.md. So that's one way. That's an alternative to the GitHub Copilot instructions file. I can do that. Like I can, even if I rename this to agents.md, it would work perfectly fine. Or in Claude's case, is Claude.md. Okay, so exact same thing. Just a reminder for those who don't, or those people that don't know, they're the same thing. It's just basically what is the main entry point for the AI to figure out the structure of the application without having to then read all of the different pages all the time, which just adds to your overall token usage. So this way we got a Copilot instructions file that has all the details. It's going to work out, all the things that it needs. It's going to put down a docs folder with all the information that I got from ChatGPT. And so it doesn't have to keep recreating the same thing over and over. So there's that. Boo, boo, boo. Okay, so while that's happening, let's see what else we got. And yeah, just a quick plug, I guess, on the school community. So my next thing I'm actually working on, I'm a little behind. I'm very behind, actually, if I'm being honest. I'm working on the 7-day challenge. And this one here is kind of a big deal because I really want to build an actual thing and launch it. And that's what this is going to be about. And I'm doing it because I want to show the actual steps to build and launch, right? So far, we've just been building, but I want to get to a place where we're actually launching. I created this app called Baldin, B-A-L-D, baldinsoon.com. This is my AI joke. I'm like, if AI is solving all the problems in the world, then why not just build an application that helps solve balding, which I'm suffering from. So with that, I built this app. I literally own this domain name, baldinsoon.com, and it has a bunch of people featured before and after that AI has solved. I like the GitHub Copilot too. So yeah, no, GitHub Copilot is it's pretty good. It's really good and it's affordable, comparison to Cloud. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so and not only that, you get to use all the different models too, which is also a thing. So, but anyway, so this is what my AI thing, and I'm actually building this out because it's a really good application in the sense that when it's finished, you're going to be able to take a picture, upload, snap a picture of your bald, upload it, and it's going to give you a rating of how severe your balding is. And based off of that, it'll put you up in the rankings so that you can think. And the good news about building this application here is I get to use, for example, the waiting list will be live. So that's going to be use Cloudflare durable objects. And it's going to be in real time, have a counter, and it's going to show a demonstration of how you could potentially get thousands of users to sign up and show, manage at scale. So that's why I'm building it out, and I'm actually taking a little bit more time to do it. But we're going to actually launch this. We're going to launch this like it's a real product in the real world and actually see if people actually sign up for it. So that's what I'm going to do. And so that's what I'm building out in this 7-day course. Building the landing page, building the actual backend, building the community, finding the community, and then basically teaching you how to actually get that launched. So stay tuned for that. I got the outline for it, but I actually didn't actually post the content as yet. Man, my voice is going. Totally losing my voice. Okay, so with that, let's see what we got. So we got our app here. Let's see what we got in the background. Okay, we got our docs folder. We got our feature list. We got our task list. And we just got to make sure that put in the GitHub Copilot instructions file to always update the task list whenever you complete the task. Therefore, we can keep track of all the things that are needed to be done. So just so at least we make sure that we're just kind of finalizing the connection between those three. So yeah, so okay, so we've done this before. We've done this 100 times over, but there's still new people coming on. So I want to make sure that every time we're sort of like refining this whole process of just building an app from scratch, getting it up, launching it. Let me see, done. I've added workflow rules. Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to check that in. I'll manually check it in because I'm feeling like working today. So what do we say? This is a, you know what, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm doing this when I have AI that could do this in a way better manner. So let's just go here and then click on this guy. And click on commit, click on sync. Perfect. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's get to the better stuff now. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a mono repo. Can you convert this to a mono repo? Clearly name the folder front end and back end. On the back end, we'll have an API, and the API will be the backend for the front end, and we're also going to need a JSON sort of schema for all the different data points on the application. Lars to commit and went back to the system. I love you started to commit then went back to the system and see. Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, why bother? Like, the AI is doing a way better job than everybody else, so, if you can't beat them, join them, okay? So, yes, 100%. But, let's just face it, right? Like, the AI writes better commit documentation than you can. It does a better job analyzing the code and actually like properly thinking it. So why are we fighting this, right? Just let the AI do its thing, man. Your job is just to guide it at this particular point. So, thanks for joining. By the way, you're a new face, Mr. I was almost gonna say Michael Jordan, but this is my dyslexia here. So it's let me see if I get that right. Mike Carey, Carey, yes, and Johnson. Okay, Mike Carey and Johnson. Okay, maybe that's what I get. I got dyslexia, so every single thing is a blur in my brain. So I apologize if I get you wrong, but welcome to the club. Um, so let's see what we got here. So we got Micah. There we go, Micah. Perfect. Welcome, Micah. Okay, so front end, back end. Yes, okay, fair enough. Okay, so what are we doing here, or why are we doing this? Number one is I found Micah. Yes, got it. The reason why we're doing this is because um, the reason why we're doing this is because what we want to do is we want to actually make a mono repo, and this is the best thing that I found personally that is like just be a game changer for me. In fact, I'm just gonna highlight this with one of my like legit real projects and not like a toy project, which is kind of technically what we're building right now. But it's a real project, but it's not like my thing. So what I've done is this. So this is a real project. This project is approaching just under about 1 million lines of code, just under. Like it's not fully there yet, but it's almost there. And there's just a lot of moving parts. So it's not just front end and back end. There's an API folder. There's an apps folder. There's there's backups. Don't worry about that. There's a build, clients, database, docs, packages. Right? It kind of goes on and on. But yes, monorepo, huge game changer from the rooftops. Yes, 100%. Like it just makes so much sense, especially in the AI world, that you have these mono repos. And the truth is, I wasn't a big fan of them for a really long time. For one big reason, when I had a lot of developers, so as some of you may or may not know, I do have a startup. We had about 13 people that were sort of like developers that were kind of doing things. And one of the biggest problems that I personally had was I found that when I was given the developers like access to all of the code base is that they would just kind of get confused on what they need to be focused on. This was a problem. I'm not saying that this happens with all developers. I'm just saying with my developers that I had, which, maybe that tells you a little bit about the developers. But anyway, I digress. So the point is that I found that it was just overwhelming. And that was because we just had a lot of stuff going on. So for this reason, I've always been a fan of isolating projects just to the core, to the team that it needs to access to it. And if you got 13 developers, not a big team, but it's a decent size enough where, there could be some overlaps and stuff like that. So you kind of have to really segregate the teams. And so for this reason, I was a big fan of isolated repos. The other reason was that, if you got a disgruntled employee, somebody's not happy with you, which happens, right? It's just the nature of life. That they won't ever have all of your code base. And so that was also a thing, right? Like, yeah, sure, they could like walk away with like, I don't know, the API backend, but they don't have the front or something like that, right? So it's just a way of protecting yourself as a startup. However, fast forward to the world of AI and this idea of separating the code based on permissions and this and that, it just became problematic. And so after tons of trial and error, I came to the conclusion that monorepo is by far the best thing that you can do in order to kind of keep the central core idea of your applications, and then keep the documentation, but also keep the reference because they're all talking to each other, etc. Right? So, as an example, with this application on the API backend, we have containers, right, that we're dealing with. So I got a couple containers. I got functions, which are Azure functions, by the way. Some of them are .NET functions, and some of them are like C#, and then some of them are Node.js backend, right? So that's a thing. I got workers, which is Cloudflare workers, right? And that's also a thing. I have, on the app side, there's just tons of different apps all together, all with their own stuff. And just one other point on this, one of the reasons why I've had apps in separate in their own single thing is because I'm also noticing that when the application gets too large, you get too much context into the AI models, and that also creates a problem. That's changing, but this is the early days, so this stuff is still fluid. And so my philosophy has been to kind of set up the applications, and when they get to a certain size, sort of like section them off by just creating a brand new app and sticking it in the same app. So by creating essentially iframes. And let me see if I can give you guys a good example of that, because I do have one. So for example, let's see here. So this is an example of, oops, I can't pull over here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is an example of my actual startup SnapSuite. And this calendar here is a complete iframe within the application, right? It's its own independent thing, talking to the same backend and all that kind of stuff, APIs, but it's its own independent from the main application. And so I've been using that as a way to also segregate the apps, but also creating monorepo, sharing the same backend infrastructure, that kind of stuff. So let's see here. So yeah, um, monorepo is a huge game changer. Sorry, I'm giving up. Mono game changer, huge game changer. Got that one. Yeah, the world of AI has become a game changer in terms of context prompting engineer. Agreed. And all the patterns in the monorepo for the agents. That's correct. Yes, 100%. Yeah. So it's literally, we're just basically sort of like shifting our code base, the way that we think about development, just for the AI. And so, I'm sure that's going to come with its own pros and cons in the future, which we'll deal with it in the future. Same, I have this for a page where I wanted to add interactive app embedded rather than direct. Yes, it's just a way to go. I think that's the thing, and it's sadly, based on your statement here, there's a lot of people that kind of dismiss sort of embedding apps within apps. Like it's almost like frowned upon in a way, right? And I know why, and I think it's because honestly it's been done in the past, but it's been done poorly in the past. So where it feels like two completely separate the apps are not talking to each other. You have this sort of like disconnected process for the user. That's not what we're talking about here. From the user standpoint, it's seamless. It's one app, even though they're connected with two different sort of domain namespace, isolated across boundaries, etc., etc. And the good news for that is that if one section of the app crashed, there's still another part of the app that could still, stay up or whatever. And so I found really, really good, interesting use case for doing this sort of embedded approach. And frankly, I think it's the way to go. And then of recent, I was watching a podcast and I was wondering about Microsoft Azure, and it turns out that they actually do this for their actual application, because the Azure is a really large, complex sort of infrastructure, and it turns out that that's basically how. Let me see if I could. So this is not my main account here, but this is just an account that I have. Let me see if I could find something that. Yeah, no, I don't know if I could. This is not my main account, so it doesn't really have any single thing on it. But as an example, this side panel would be like one thing, and then this panel here would be like another app in itself, and then when you click into this would be like another app. And so they've just kind of just broken things down into really like basically each one of these side panel here, when you click through it, links to basically a completely different app with a completely different team, and obviously they're sharing the same UI and all that kind of stuff. So this is not the best example, because normally Azure has these blades they kind of go into, but it's a really good example of how to do this at scale, and it's literally just iframes all over the place. Like it's the whole thing is iframes. So anyway, if anybody tells you that that's not a really good approach, then you could point to Microsoft and be like, hey, well, those guys are doing it, and then they'll say, Microsoft is not a good example. So that's besides the point. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate that comment, because it's a really good. It's a really it's a really good point. Um, so where are we? Got distracted there for a second. Hang on a second. Let's make sure we got, what are we? Yeah, okay. Right. So we got our front end, we got our back end, we got our getting started, we got all this stuff, node modules. Right, so we got a transaction, we got a reoccur, we got a thing. The only thing I want to make sure here is that I want to make sure that the back end, so we got routes, categories. So I actually want to JSON category input. So where does this go to? Schema, affordly schema. Where's that? Okay, why do I not see a schema folder here? At affordly schema. Okay, hang on a second. I don't know why I'm going blind or something. No, I don't think I am. I think it, source. Oh, packages. Oh, interesting. Summary. Okay, so, okay, fair enough. So we'll see if this works. So, okay, so I'm going to tell it not to really, because it's trying to do a sort of a, let me see if the, yeah, you know what, we'll try this and see if it works. I'm not certain if this is going to work the way, because you see here, we got a packages, schema, here, this backend. This here is linked to affordly, which doesn't make much sense. So I'm questioning this line here, but let's just see what we got here. So it appears that you're linking the schema in a packages folder, which is outside of the backend folder. Is that going to be a problem for deployment? Because Cloudflare doesn't necessarily handle monorepo properly. So should we have every single thing contained under the backend sort of folder, because we don't need it on the front end per se, at least at this particular point? Yeah, there's still some issues with Cloudflare and the monorepo, at least from my testing and experimenting. And they have some limitations which is why I don't use them to handle the monorepo deployments, because you could only have up to 5 monorepos, at least the last I checked, in their system. Let me just fact check that right now. So, is there a limitation in Cloudflare monorepo deployment? I think it's up to 5 if the last time I checked on this here. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this thinking is that it spends a little bit too much time thinking. It's like you could probably just search and get me the answer right away, but Stack Overflow. Come on. So Cloudflare does support monorepo, but there are a few practical constraints and I feel a limitation depending on the work. So one page project, one root directory, output, blah, blah, blah. Project count. So pages has a soft limit. Okay, so this is pages. We're not dealing with pages anymore. Multi-repo worker in one. You can connect the same monorepo to each worker and then set the worker root directory in the Wrangler. So clean monorepo setup with this /web/admin/. Yeah, okay, so we don't use pages anymore with Cloudflare, so just give me all the Activate documentation, just focus on workers, so let me know if I could do this properly. Yeah, still kind of focusing on pages, which is a whole thing by itself, and this year has been sort of a very, very rough transition with Cloudflare when it comes to pages. Are you guys using Cloudflare? I got 4 people inside of here. Are you guys using Cloudflare? Put a 1 in the chat if you are. Put a 0 if you're not. And if you're not, what are you using? Curious. while I wait for all this AI stuff to get generated, and we're gonna see if this. Let's see what it says. Yes, you're absolutely right. The connected Cloudflare workers can have issues with monorepo setup, especially with workspace packages. Yeah, so we're not gonna do the whole workspace packages thing because it just gets into weird territory that I don't care to deal with on a live stream. I want to try to provide as much value as possible, so we're just gonna push through some of the details. But let me know if you guys are who's using Cloudflare. I tried to look up a activate context in Cloudflare worker monorepo and not seeing any single thing. Cloudflare featured blah 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 monorepo. Here's a complete monorepo plus workers and advanced page, advanced section, build, root deployment, build watch. How do you so Wrangler Cloudflare JSON C Eves since can you do this properly? Fully Cloudflare. Wow. Fantastic. Maybe we should get you to come do a lesson here. Using their AI workers also. Oh, okay. So we're gonna definitely be doing some stuff with this one here, the AI workers. We haven't done much on live stream with it, but if you're interested in sharing some of the work that you're doing, then it would be cool to kind of see what you're actually doing with Cloudflare workers. So yeah, it would actually be cool because I mean, like, so I have a couple of things that I want to do with AI workers, which is mostly around real time voice and real time. I got some crazy ideas that I have in mind for it, based on some of the projects that I'm working on. I just haven't actually got around to actually going really, really in depth with it. But that's kind of cool to know that you're doing that. So yeah, real limitations. You still can't connect workers separately, separate projects, even though they're report. Yeah. So this was sort of the problem here. So anyway, we're not going to get into all that because it's just there's some real problems with this with the implementation. So we'll just avoid all of that. Backend, source, routes, categories, recurrent, submit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to deploy the backend. Actually, this project would be a perfect example. And what are you using for auth, Micah? Like, what's your go-to auth provider? Is it basic auth, or are you using an enterprise solution? Auth0, WorkOS. A lot of people have been asking me to do basic auth authenticate tutorials, and I haven't actually gotten around to it as yet. Can you deploy the backend and using this name and for a worker? And then once we get the backend, let's start hooking up the front end to connect to the API so we could actually submit data. We also need to create a D1 database to store the records. And I'm on Sonnet still. Like, to be honest with you, I'm even falling back. I haven't been truly using Opus. I don't know the difference really between Opus 4 and Sonnet 4.5. Interestingly enough, Sonnet is so obviously it's more expensive, so that's a thing. And then Haiku is 0.33, so a little bit less of a model than this guy. So this is the big gun right now. And Sonnet 4 and Sonnet 4.5. Are you guys using any of the GPT models? Controlled through IP. Yeah. Cloudflare allows you to do that pretty easy, so I get that. Yeah, they have that. I don't know if you've used the built-in. You could just. It's not very elegant, but it does get you in a bind to be able to just quickly. Oops. To be able to where is it? if you go here and then you do this Cloudflare access, if you turn that on, it'll just quickly just put it in behind a you could put it behind an OTP, one time passcode type of thing, or hook it up to your actual provider, Gmail or whatever. Any single thing under 50 users is fine. And the way that I've been using it is by, if you only have one provider, like Google or Facebook or whatever, then you could just let it, as soon as it hits your domain, Cloudflare just redirect to the auth provider directly rather than having to go to Cloudflare and then over to the provider that you choose. So that's kind of a nice touch with it, and it just kind of does it seamlessly just by flicking that one little switch there. So that's been a thing. I've created an agent harness that runs auto in the background, all Claude, and selects models based on complexity and failures. Oh, that's cool. Bubble more performant models. Yeah, no, that's actually really cool to know. This is so okay, question for you. How long have you gotten the model to run so far, at least based on your experiments? Like an hour? Like longer than that? Um Obviously there's a cost attached to it, but I'm just kind of curious how long you've gotten it to run. Um and then while I'm answering your question, I'm also answering your question, which about this. Yeah, so the OTP thing is actually pretty cool. It's kind of one of those sneaky little hidden features that most people don't really know about. There's a Cloudflare worker, so what it is. So take, for example, this app here, right? If I just hit it on this domain, just as an example, right? It'll just go directly there. If I literally just flick that switch, so I go here and I do Cloudflare access, then, showing my auth keys and JW key enabled, which is a whole lot of thing by itself. Obviously, I'm not going to keep this stuff up. But anyway, so if I do that and I just refresh it, bam, I'm behind the authentication wall already, and I could do an OTP thing. So that's like the fastest, easiest thing. This interface drives me nuts. So the way to get around that is you go to, oh, come on, Cloudflare here. So the way to go get around that is you have to go to, it's under security. It's under their zero trust. It's part of their zero trust platform. And then you have to go to, where is it? Access control, applications. And then you see here, this is the application that I have here. So if you click into it, you can configure it. And then you could say login methods. See here? And you could, so this is, right now it only has this one, right? So because I only have this one, it's a Cloudflare thing. But if I choose to switch it over to, because I already set up these providers before, right? I have one for SnapSuite with Microsoft Azure AD. So here, if I uncheck this one, the OTP, right? I could use this instant auth. So I check that off. And then what it'll do is allow me to, whenever I refresh that page, so if I go back and I paste that URL, I press enter, it'll just skip. Oh, well, it should. I think it takes a little bit of time. But anyway, the point is it'll just skip all of that and it'll just, oh, you know what? I didn't save too. I didn't save. Let's try that again. So I think it does take a little time, but let's see. So here, press on that. Okay, yeah, it does take a little second because it doesn't actually come off. But anyway, in a bit, what it'll do is it's going to, so here, yeah, it'll just go straight to Azure. Like it'll just redirect me straight to Azure to do the authentication and then push it back. So that's actually a good feature. Obviously, it's not 100% secure because I haven't actually hooked up the backend to actually deal with the token validation and all that kind of stuff. But it's a way to kind of get you just kind of like a little bit of protection while you're kind of messing around with things. So yeah, definitely check that out for sure. It's one of those little things that it's free up to 50 users. So why not, right? So here, login methods, uncheck that. And then save. Yeah, and like I said, this one here will send you, where is it? Instant dot, yes. Skip identity selection when available. So yeah, anyway, just thought I'd share that. Allow. So I don't want to, no, see what it's doing? It's now going to use npm again, which is what I don't want it to do. Okay, whatever. We'll let it run npm. It's annoying. Okay, so we have a schema. Let's see, we got salaries, freelance income, rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, dining out, insurance, batteries, okay, business expenses. Okay, we're gonna add some more to that category, so that's fine. Actually, okay, so we're gonna add some more to that category. Okay, so what does that mean? So let's see if it's actually working. Backend is success. Okay, so we got some success rate. That's cool. Income, that's cool. So let's go see. Okay, so fourthly backend. Right, okay, so we got one request came in, connected to a database. Categories, we got 7 of them. Recurrent rules, none. Transactions, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So we got ourselves a curl backend, front end, npm error, db deployment successful. Perfect. Can you update the GitHub Copilot instructions file? Make sure that we have all the latest instructions based on the database API. And then we'll also need to update the front end to ensure that it works properly. Oh, you know what? Okay, so I think it's already running and tested. Let's just double check. Can I pay attention to that? Localhost, new transaction, freelance, 2300, failed to fetch. So it's probably a CORS issue. Let's see. Transaction CORS, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got a CORS issue. So what we'll do is we'll just get that fixed locally. Need to hop through, want to share. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You have yourself a wonderful day. And yeah, we'll connect soon for sure. So keep in touch. And I definitely want to hear a little more about your AI project for sure in the future. So I'll be here every Friday. I'm back on my regular schedule now, so 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. But thank you for jumping around. Okay. Where are we? Boo, boo, boo. What are we doing here? So I'm just trying to make sure I got all the pieces in place. Okay, so let's just do cores on this one here. All right, so we're gonna get our task list update and everything. Okay, so where are we at? Just to recap, while we got all this craziness happening and waiting for things to happen, we did a Google Stitch. We did a Google Stitch design for our mobile app. We got all of this worked out. And by worked out, I mean just program with Google Stitch. Why Google Stitch? Because frankly, at this particular point, it's the best UI that I find that has a seamless transition from their stuff to Google sort of AI studio that can help with the building of the initial application. And it does a pretty good job. And optionally, you can get all of the HTML seamlessly. So that's one. We took that Google Stitch and then push it over into Google AI Studio. And where is it? Basically, we had it build this. From there, quickly push it to GitHub. From GitHub, push it over to Cloudflare. From Cloudflare, we built out ourselves a backend. And now we're just basically just testing all the pieces. So deployed backend database. Okay, so let's do this now. For the front end, the front end sits at this location. Can you update it and also make sure that the cores works for the API backend so that when I submit on the front end, it will work properly? All right. So boop, boop, boop. Yeah, we're gonna figure out the whole. Yeah, gotta up our game on the live stream. Okay, so we are Doing okay with the Wrangler deploy. Now let's deploy the backend. Okay, so all we're doing here is just making sure that we get cores properly set up in between the front end and the back end. If you don't know what cores are, basically it's a restriction that the browser puts on allowing an API to call a backend. So the backend has to say, I am okay with this front end calling me. It's kind of a sort of a security thing. It's not real security, because it's kind of fake security, because if you're not calling from the browser, you could call to the API at any given time. It's just that the browser is trying to restrict random pages from just calling it. So that's the reason why it exists. Oh, I forgot to bring a spoon for my yogurt. Oh, no. Okay, so let's wait on that to finish. And then we're going to move on. Backend is deployed. Now let's deploy the front end. Front end is deployed. Of course, I need to disable the security. Make sure everything's working first, and then we could talk about overview. Okay, so let's try and do this. Inspect. Put this below here. Let's go to network. Label an let's do an expense. Let's say dining out, $50. Save transaction, 201. Wow, okay. Very good. So I don't think any of the numbers are moving or anything. Let's put 50,000. Let's see what happens. Some crazy number. Healthcare, sure. Okay, so it's doing something. I'm getting 201. So what we want to do is we want to just make sure that the database is actually saving our work. So let's go to our D1. Forwardly. Explore data. Transactions. Income. Expenses. 50. 2, 3. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so a couple things. We want to make sure that the application actually is like truly working. So it appears that the application is actually entering transactions correctly. However, the data, the graph, every single thing is still fake data. So I want to make sure that the entire thing is actually working with real data from the actual database, nothing else. Sorry. Losing my voice, getting over a cold. Okay, so just to make sure that we're good. So we're getting 200 transactions, which is fantastic. That means our app is actually saving data, and we're actually seeing the data in our Cloudflare D1 database. So that's good also. So now what we're just making sure is that whenever we update this, all this stuff is working correctly. Gabriel, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? Happy New Year to you, sir. Welcome to 2026 first live stream. Thanks. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hopefully, hopefully things are doing pretty okay in your neighborhood, despite all the crazy political stuff that I notice happening. Hopefully things are good for you. Well, you're in Brazil. You're not in. Your neighbor is Venezuela, so I know. As I mentioned, I have family in Guyana, which is currently being disputed with Venezuela. Long story. So, yeah, but welcome. Happy to know that you're doing okay. Thanks for joining in. Thinking about new projects. Oh, what do you got in mind so far? Anything? Is this a moneymaker project this time, or is this just for fun project? Yeah, things are going crazy in Venezuela is an understatement, but this is a non-political stream. YouTube is already like keeping my views sort of like limited to I don't know I don't know how YouTube works, but like first day I streamed I got like 15 20 people, and I noticed it just kind of keeps good. So we want to do everything in our powers to keep the YouTube gods happy. But I'm glad to know that you're okay. And what kind of projects are you working on? What do you got in mind? What are you thinking about? Curious. Expense savings. So what is this? All right, so let's see what we got here. I see the issue with malformed closing brackets. Okay, so I'll check the current state of the component hooks to replace the mock data with real API calls. Let me continue to read the files. Now I can see the clear issue, dashboard updated, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. Excellent. Problem is that incorrect. C closing. GSX. Yes, for my dad, I noticed that he's struggling in his real estate agency, and I'm thinking of building some financial rental management site. Some financial rentals management site. So like is it like a property management app? Like so we can manage the different properties and keep track of like maintenance costs and all that kind of stuff. Is that what you're thinking? Or is it more like being able to kind of like figure out the list the properties to sell and which ones people are interested in and that kind of deal, like more on the sales side? Yes, for leasers and leases. Okay, so property management for sure. Got you. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I built an app like that years ago, decades ago, way before AI. And the thing that you kind of have to think about. So if it's a property management app, You end up with cases where you kind of have to like there's a main property, and then you have sort of like the obviously the tenants. You have sort of like the challenges for each project, each property, right? So you have to kind of think about, okay, for this building, right? Here are the, let's call them the problem categories, and the problems could come in like every month or something. Maybe even given the tenants the ability to report problems. Not that you really want that, because then they just complain about every single thing because it's so easy. But it might be a thing. Um, and then on the back end, you need some way to kind of triage those problems to figure out which ones are the most important ones to focus on. And if there's a condo board, you kind of want to think about the condo board part of it, or the management board that's dealing with like maintaining the upkeep of the buildings, etc. And then from there, you want to be able to ideally push the notification to some sort of company that you have in like a supplier list, contractors basically, that are doing the actual work, fixing stuff, etc., etc. So there's a couple moving parts there, for sure. At least in the maintenance, property management side of things. Um, and then you might want to do reminders for people upkeep certain things on the property, etc. So it's a good app. It's definitely a good app to build, and it's a huge market, by the way. So build this with the intention of selling it. Use your dad as a guinea pig. Use him as a first company, and then once you kind of get a handle on the app and you got some foundation, try to see if you could pitch it to other smaller rentals. I mentioned this on my previous live. My idea is to rake in the most painful task. Yeah, well, listen, we're developers, so we dream big. That's basically the bottom line. We dream big. So no harm in that. Okay, let me see if I got any single thing going here. Can you deploy the front end so I could test things properly? Yeah, but at the start, don't think about doing integration with financial services. At least not at the start, right? Just focus on the core. Um, if you are doing financial services, the big one out there right now is Plaid. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Maybe not in your region, PLAID, but I mean, I want to say they're global at this particular point. But they pretty much enable, and it's been getting less and less harder to integrate, which is kind of a good thing. So before it was kind of like sitting behind a really big complex paywall, but now it's like pay as you go, request access type of deal. So that's a good thing. But if you're not familiar with them, check them out. They're pretty good for like developer focused integration. They're basically the Stripe of like connecting to the banks. But I don't know if in your region if it'll work. It'd be interesting. Let me know if it does. Um, okay, am I getting the deployment here? NPM keeps doing NPM. So, okay, we're deploying. Yeah, Plaid is pretty much any single thing in North America uses Plaid for integration, payments, banking, all that type of stuff. And like I said, they used to be very very expensive, but it's not really that expensive anymore. Or I shouldn't say not really expensive. By the way, I was studying Better Art. Man, this thing is different. You know what? Better Art is so Better Art is very, from what I've seen and from the documentation and every single thing that I've read so far, It's a really good implementation, and it's very, very good. Here, there's a problem with it though, and I let me tell you this: the guy that is doing the better art implementation is very smart. I can't pronounce his name. He's from Ghana, but like you mentioned, you prefer OTP. There's a plug for OTP, really easy setup. I will send you the post to the community. Yeah, do that for sure. Actually, that would be great. That would do that for me. Um, because I am kind of paying attention to it. I'm going to do a video specifically in the school community about it because it's a really good implementation. The only issue that I have with Better Art, why I wouldn't use it in production for any single thing right now, is because I know there's a whole backend services that's coming for Better Art. Right now, Better Art is focused on just capitalizing on building users. It's a proper business model. So all of the people that are like non exposed to real in-depth security would gravitate to Better Art, especially for like pet projects, silent, like that kind of stuff. It's just really, really solid. However, once you start getting to the enterprise level or larger security systems, it completely falls off because it doesn't have a lot of the back end stuff that is needed. Mind you, they're working on it and they're building out pretty fast. But a lot of the monitoring and all that kind of stuff, they're going to build services around those things. And that's where the real payment is going to come into play, and they'll probably target enterprise. But for now, it's very solid implementation. And to be honest with you, I haven't had to keep giving it justice in terms of my time to think. But so this is just talking from what I've read and the documentation. But yeah, drop that over in the community, and I will definitely check it out for sure. I'm yet to post your video. I said I was going to do it over the holidays, and I didn't, but I will. Our initial chat. Okay, so where are we? Almost there. Build succeeded. Now let's do. Come on, 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 come on. What's going on here? Okay, looks like we're stuck in La La Land here. Okay. Might have to stop this and then go again. Yeah, I think, yeah, we're definitely in start mode. The deployment is stuck. Yeah, okay, so I have to kill this. Can you try deploying the front end again? Come on. Okay, deployment is happening. No, I use existing. No, come on, man. It's just. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's refresh now. Let's see what happens. Can I do it this way? Inspect, network, enter. All right, so add a transaction, 888, save transaction. I've got to choose a category. Pending 201, got that. Okay, it's still showing me like dummy data on the dashboard. Let's see transactions. Okay, so it's definitely still showing me dummy data. I'm still seeing dummy data on my dashboard. Can you double check and fix every single thing? Make sure that all the transaction, all the pages are working correctly with live data from the API. Oops. Okay, we want to go back and get that. Come on. Home and copy and paste. All right, so all we're doing right now is just basically just trying to just double check and hook up the data to the backend. The backend is already working, it's already saving, we've already confirmed that. We got data going to the database, the Cloudflare D1. We're just trying to just get the basics going so that we can actually have actual data showing up on the backend and actually have a graph that's showing up with the thing. Now, actually, I just noticed one thing. Oh, we can put a date in here. I should get it to use shed CDN libraries for like the calendar and stuff like that, but okay, that's good. And then what I really wanted to do is I want to be able to just upload a, yeah, these categories are, okay, that's fine. Save transaction. Yeah, it has all the pieces, it's just that the front end is just not. Let me report for using latest. Okay, so let me just see here. I'll check in for implementation, fix the issues, deploy now. Live front end dev, echo, and I found good. I can see the code's already being deployed. Hooks correctly. Perfect. Good. Build completed. Now let me check the invite variables. URL's fine. I see the deploy is still showing dummy data. See if forwardly was updated. Oh, okay. I got two different URLs. Is that what's going on? I got two different URLs. Let's just see. It's always one silly mistake that's basically causing the whole thing to burn. Yeah, there's two URLs. Okay. So we just got to decide on which one. Yeah, so we want to tell it to use this one. Interesting. Okay, we're using the wrong front end, so we just want to tell it to use. I only want you to use one front end, not two. So don't use the front end with SnapSuite inside of it. In fact, delete that worker and only use this one. Okay, let's finish this stuff first and then we'll do that. It's always a simple problem that's always getting you in the end just because, AI just wants to remind you that it's not 100% perfect. So it is what it is. Okay, so let me try. Okay, let's just stop this and let me just tell it what to do here. And then we'll go from there. In either case, in about an hour and a half, we've pretty much built an entire application. We got an app deployed, database, backend. You can actually enter transactions. We're gonna test it out live, and then we're gonna use this because I actually want to use this as a real app between myself and my partner, and then see where the bugs are and then fix it. Maybe we'll use Better Auth to get it to sign up, implement the sign up system with Better Auth. All right, almost there. Cloudflare workers. Four minutes ago. Deploying the front end. Okay. Do we have live data on a real application? Yes or no? It's very simple. Of course, it's, it's using pages. I just realized that it's using pages as opposed to. Okay, so that's good. So let's add a expense. So 2026, net here down. Income 6,000, total expense 234.8. So let's add an expense and let's see. So transportation. January, negative 290. So 200, negative 200, and doesn't make any sense. None of these numbers are moving. Let's see your income. Let's say Let's say January 1st. Okay, total income did move up. Total expense doesn't seem to be moving. Savings and investment not doing any single thing. 190,000. So if I do 4,000 as an expense, interesting. Okay. So it is showing the totals. 109. Did I get that right? So expect, where did this 240,000 come from? Question. Yes, I got you. Listening. Healthcare 200 and you know what? What about if I did your test other DBs over overdrive? Does it prefer if over? You mean hyperdrive, right? That's what you're talking about. Cloudflare. This guy. I presume that's what you're talking about. This is on my radar to test. I haven't done any extensive testing with it, to be honest with you. And the truth is, I don't even know why I haven't, other than, well, I kind of do. I kind of know why. It's because hyperdrive. Yeah, okay. I figured that's what you're talking about. So I haven't done it. Let me just be real with you and say I haven't done enough testing with it to say definitively whether the performance gains matter. Like in other words, like if at scale, I can't talk about scale with this one here for sure, because I haven't done any kind of real testing with it at scale. But that's on my radar to actually spend some time on for sure, because I have a Postgres database. It's sitting in Azure. I'm doing more and more stuff on Cloudflare. I'm trying to do more stuff with Cloudflare Workers API. So it's kind of like the logical thing to do. The reason why I haven't really done it specifically on my projects is because most of my APIs are kind of predefined and already sitting in C Sharp world and in Azure world already, and so they're already done. And so my I'm just doing front end connecting to existing API backend, which works perfectly fine. So that's the only reason why I haven't done it. But I will do some tests to kind of give some of my own definitive sort of take on it. Um, so good question though, because it's one of those that I'm gonna put in my list of things to see if I could tackle. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna wipe the database so I can know for sure that this is working. Because I know it's not working correctly, but I don't know what specifically is not working. So we're just gonna wipe the database, and we're just gonna delete. Oh jeez, can't delete star from transactions from. Oh, don't need categories. Just these two. What am I missing? This is SQLite, so I can't do star. Oh, I just do delete. Sorry. What is the syntax here? Delete from. Okay. Oh, a semicolon. That's what I'm missing. Okay, so let's just see it now, because it's hard to test it when it's like has. Okay, so that's working. So that's working. Okay, so I'm seeing savings and I'm seeing investments, which doesn't make any sense, but everything else seems to be fine. So let's just do it with simple numbers so we can make sure that things are working correctly. So we're going to do $100 input from salary, add. Okay, so we have 0.9 here. There we go. Okay, we're up 0.1. Good. Actually, let's do it this way. Why is it February? Oh, this monthly breakdown thing is kind of awkwardly set up. Is this past months or future months? I don't know. But okay, we'll get to that. Let's do another income of well, let's just, you know what, let's just do another income freelance, and let's just put it at 900. 900. Therefore we're gonna have 1,000. 1K. Perfect. Good. Now we're going to have an income. Perfect. Now we're gonna have an expense of healthcare, $50. Let's do it 100 so we could keep track properly. Positive. Perfect. That's working too. So income, the filters aren't working. Okay, so let's keep track of what's not working. The filters, we need to make the following improvements to the front end. The filters aren't working. The category filters are not working. Okay, so that's one. I'm still seeing unallocated cache, which has nothing to do with the entire app. So we need to add schema to in the database to be able to keep track of this unallocated app. Right now it just seems to be dummy data. Okay. Same thing goes for the savings and investments. And let's make sure that, so it says 900, but this is net. So it's dipped, okay, but it's dipped from what? So let's put my expense higher than my, let's say my expenses are 1,500. Let's see what happens there. So down by 0.6. So I'm down by 0.6. Total expense is, my expense is up by 1.6. My income is, why is this arrow showing down? Okay, in and out maybe. I'm in the minus here. For some reason, when I had $1,000 in my income and $100 on my expense, the monthly sort of like change was showing sort of like a negative change in red, which doesn't make any sense. It should, or negative should only be if you're in a minus for that month. Also, the order of the months doesn't make any sense. If the month now is January, then go scroll, like the most recent month should be at the top. The months below that should be the it should be the months of the year for the current year. And then if we go left or right, then it should be for the for the previous year. Okay, that's a lot of instructions. And also the graph. Also, currently, I'm negative $600 in the hole, and the graph doesn't indicate that there's actually I'm in the negative. It should clearly show that currently at my current trajectory, based on the entire month, entire year, that I'm in the negative. Right? Because if I'm down $600, it should show me that I'm down $600. Okay, let's do that. Okay, give it a couple things to do. Fix. Interesting. Okay. We'll have to see how to deal with this. Because really and truly, what I would like to do is be able to swipe through the different months. Okay, we'll have to think about that a little bit. You know what? We're going to try to see if we could do the whole receipt thing as well, too. Because I think we're almost here with this budgeting app. So we're going to try to do it. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so we are just testing. Let's see where we are. Allow. Okay, so monthly transaction, create schema, endpoints. More plan. So fixed category filters, allocate, add allocation schema, create endpoints for allocation, run deployments, connect to dashboard to allocation API. I haven't actually you know what? I just realized I haven't been checking in my code. Bad practice. Connect to allocated dashboard. Fix monthly indicator logic. Fixed month ordering, most recent, the current event shows that the update graph to show negative balance. Yes, now also it doesn't show the income versus expense doesn't show me it. I have no indication of like from January to December. So the graph should show me, or at least that would be the hope, that at least tells me the month. Okay, so we're almost there. Perfect. Every single thing has been implemented. So the only thing I need is this should show me January to December on the graph. For the cash flow graph, it needs to show January to December at the bottom. Try see the request data. Which request data? Oh, you're talking about the right from before. Got it. The cash flow cash graph needs to show the January to December at the bottom. Yeah, let's do this. And then the cash flow graph needs to show January to December at the bottom. This way we can see an entire picture of the year, always, of the current year. And if you navigate to the previous year, it should show for the previous year, January to December. Okay. Right. So I think that should be it. Let's refresh this and see. Yeah, so now it's showing me, yeah, and you know this red line, this blue line, it should not be a blue line, it should be a red line. So net versus income versus expense. Income is 1,000. Expense is 1,600. So which one is expense? The bottom one. No, net is okay. Net is negative. Expense. Right. So what color should we do? We should do expense in red, right? Yeah, expense should be in red. So the net income was $1,000. 1,600 was the expense. I have no savings. I have no investment. I'm down by $600. I have unallocated cash negative 1,600. So what happens if I do network and I press on the plus sign here? Okay, so the unallocated cash, if I press on the plus button, nothing happens. And the dip right now shows that I'm sitting in a minus balance of $600 for this month, which is true. So now if I add expenses and I say next month here and I do $500 add, so now I have January expenses. I have no way of like switching to the months, but that's fine. That should still get me something here. So now it's showing that I have another expense at 500. Income was at 0. And so my net is negative 500. So I'm down by 1,500, so that's correct. unallocated cash. So I'm dip in January by, okay, interesting. Okay, so I added something for February, so I should be seeing that February in there. I also added, I did a test by adding a another expense in the month of February, even though we're in the current month of January. And I don't see the February month showing up on the monthly breakdown. And currently, I have no way to jump to the month of February. In other words, I need to be able to put in my expenses and put in my reoccurring expenses and be able to see that projected throughout the year and be able to check those months to see what my income or expense would look like for that month. Super simple app. We're going to try to publish this to the App Store. We're going to see what happens. We're going to do the receipt thing as well too. Okay, so we're almost there. So I see the issue. The dashboard is currently filtering out months when view in the current year. Let me fix it so that you can see all 12 months and access future months to view projected expenses and recurring. Perfect. I've updated the dashboard to show all 12 months throughout the year, regardless of whether we're in the current month or viewing. Removing filter, showing all 12 months, handle missing data gracefully. Months without transaction will show zero income expenses. Months order and preference, yes. You can now add expense and income to any future months like February, March. Click on any to see those, even if you haven't. Okay, so that's great. Okay, and then what else was the other thing? That's the last thing. All right, so let's make sure that can you make the expense show in a red dotted line, a little bit more thicker? And what else do we need here? Also, I noticed that when I have unallocated cash, when I click on the plus button, nothing happens. I'm not certain what should be happening there. Okay, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna try to see if we could do the whole scan now thing. Batch mode. Oh, there is a batch mode thing too. That's cool. Okay, we'll do that for another day. We'll do the scan receipts thing another day. But this is pretty good. I think this is a pretty good start to our entire application from end to end, considering the fact that we just vibe coded this on a tin layer. So okay, let's see what we got. Okay, we're just going to deploy front end, make sure everything is working. Can you deploy the front end and make sure that everything is working as expected? Oops. Okay, perfect. Doing great. Okay, deploying front end. Backend is working. So now let's refresh. There we go. 1,000. Total expense 2.1. We could see a red trending line of expenses. We could see that we have no income. We could see we're net in the negative. Overall, we're down by 1.1 thousand. Had to take a nap. Oh, good, man. You're good. Don't worry. That's why we have recordings. You can always come back and record. I watch a recording. That's too funny. Anyway, we're just wrapping up. We got the entire app working, basically. The only thing I didn't do was the receipt part, but we'll talk about that in a sec. And I'm just testing, make sure that all the numbers are correct. So let me enter another number here. So I'm going to put another income of $1,000. 1, 2, 3. Put another income, and we're going to put that in the month of, let's call it April 15th. And we're going to say that was from salary, sure. And click on add. So there we go. Okay, so we made $2,000 in income. Our expenses is 2.1. We're down by 0.1k. Our expense at the start of the year was pretty high. Our income was less, so we had a net of minus 600. However, we had an income in, oh, you know what? It's still missing the dates, the months. Click for my hosting. Hey, how do we go for that landing page? Sorry, which landing? So we're going to do for a landing page. Sorry, which landing page? So we're going to do for a landing page. Oh, you mean a landing page for this application? If that's what you're talking about, I definitely want to call with you because I really want to learn how to use Cloudflare for my hosting. Got you. So, well, honestly, the best tutorial, I think it's best tutorial, period, is my Cloudflare 101. Because in here, so you don't have to worry about the first couple of parts, but I did break down like the different parts of Cloudflare, and it's 10 minutes video, but honestly, this 15 minutes video will get you there. And in this video, I actually went from, buying a domain name, pointing it to Cloudflare, attaching a worker, and getting the real site live. And it wasn't like a fancy website. It was like literally here, let me show you. So let me show you the website that I put up. There, that's it. That was the website. Like it was like the most basic thing that you can do in Cloudflare. This is what I did, just so I could show you how to do it properly. And then from there, we go into more details. And then how did I do this one here? What is Cloudflare Worker? Yeah, and then we talked a little bit about Cloudflare Worker, which goes a little more in depth so people could kind of understand it and sort of like I said, basic terminology. And then from there, I did automated deployments. So yeah, these three should get you there like pretty, like if you just watch just these three, you don't even have to do this one here. You just watch these two, you should get there with the details. But I'm yet to post these on YouTube, by the way. I'm going to post them on YouTube as well too. Yeah, I was speaking. Sorry, I'm using text-to-speech. I was wondering what you're going to do. Oh, for a landing page, right? Got you. So yeah, so for a landing page, It's a good question because I was supposed to do that. For this one here, it's just going to be a personal. You know what? Why don't we do it right now? Because these guys could do it. This could do it for me. Claude. I find Lovable to be pretty good with the landing pages. Lovable. So based on this, yeah. So I'm going to say I'm going to take this. So I'm going to say create me a landing page for using my simple financial planner app, budgeting app. That's going to be the cheapest, period. I'm going to do it at $1 per month. And free for the first 30 days. Yes, that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be a landing page that basically helps you to get in the habit of tracking your expenses, use it, and then if you like it, then you pay $1 going forward per month for the app. Yeah, that's going to be the landing page. So anyway, build that for me, and it's called Affordly, AFORDLY.app, and it's going to be available in the Google and the Play Store. Sorry, the Google, iOS, and Android store. So there's that, and then I'm just putting that underneath it. That's going to be my landing page. We'll let it kind of cook in the background. But okay, so I think this is working. I got total income, got total expense. We got our investment savings, which I don't really know what that's for right now. That's disabled at this particular point because it's in zero. So in January, I had net 600 netting. In here, April, I had a positive 600. So let's just put half of that. Let's just say I had in April, I had a $500 expense. Keep the math simple. January, February, March, April. I had a entertainment expense for 500, sure. Okay, so now we're seeing that our expenses kind of creeped up a little bit there. So we're down by 6 again. So yeah, perfect. That's working. Beautiful. Beautiful. So our income and expense is actually working very nicely. And overall for the year, total income 2,000, total expense, I know exactly where I'm at. We're going to do the savings, we're going to do the investments. And actually, why don't we do these savings right now just so we can see if it's actually working. So we're going to put in let's say we're going to put in a $2,000, and we're going to put it in freelance work. And then we're going to say that came in April. Now let's go with another June or something. So there we go. So we had an expense. So now we're up by 1.6K for the year, which is fantastic. So what do we want to do now? We want to basically see if we can allocate some money to savings. So we're going to say we're going to put $400 in savings. So what I'm checking to do is see if this is going to load. Oh, it does load. And then I'm going to try to put. Okay, so the savings work. Oh, interesting. So the the unallocated. Interesting. So there seems to be some issue with the savings and the investment unallocated cash. When I added a surplus into my database in terms of income, I was able to click on the button right after. But however, if I refresh the page, I could see the number being 400 for my savings. I can't click on the button anymore for neither the investment or the savings. So we need to address that. And yeah, we need to address that. Yeah. So, okay, so this is good. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to push it a little bit. I have 20 more minutes here. So the income is working, the insurance is working, like the filters are working. They should be scrolled in, but that's fine. Yeah, the only thing I can't do here is I can't navigate between the different months to see the different expenses. So we want to get that going for sure. We want to have some kind of arrow so we could kind of jump between different months. And yeah, we're gonna try the receipt thing. We'll try to see if we can get this on. Because if we can actually get this in entire package, then what we can do is on the next video, I might try to wrap this up and see if I could package this as a mobile app, ship it to the actual app store, and then we do some promotion and see what happens. Right? If you use it for more than 30 days, you pay $1 per month going forward. Let's see what happens. Super simple, super basic. It's called Affordly. I think it'll work. Okay. Fix the savings investment allocated. Okay, so what did you fix? Fix the issue with saving investment allocated when you refresh the page allocation like 400 saying where locate loaded from the database, but the buttons became disabled even though they had surplus income. This happens because a component on like yeah, okay, got you. Okay, so you got that fixed. The other thing is I can't see the I need to see January, February, March, April, March, all the way down to December for the graph at the bottom, so I could kind of figure out which months I'm high and which months I'm low. Keep in mind that it has to work on mobile as well too. Yeah, so we're gonna do the AI section. You know what? We'll do that for next week. I won't belabor this video. I'm gonna do the receipt section next week, and we're just gonna focus on AI because we haven't really, up until this point, we haven't really done a lot of AI stuff. And I think it would be a fantastic piece of implementation to snap a receipt, have it go over to AI, read the values, extract the date and the time and all the different stuff, put it in and add it as an item, and then put a link to that item in the receipt. All right, and then the more important thing is to be able to snap a receipt of your entire page of credit card transactions and just have it just automatically categorize it, which is a real big pain. So yeah, I think this is a good progress. Did I get that fixed? Okay, so overview. Okay, so why is it starting from? Interesting. For some reason, it seems to be starting from February to December. It should show January as well. Also, keep in mind that it has to be able to be mobile friendly also. So, not certain how you need to deal with that, but we need to think about that. Okay, that's doing it good. So the only thing that's missing is really the. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's actually further than I was thinking that it'd be need 6 more to allocate. Right. So we should be sort of a target. Okay, we could get to that. We could get more complex, obviously, with the layering of the details. But I think that's a good place to end, I think, because I have all the details, I have all the basics, and I'm gonna get a user to actually test it, aka my wife. Cool. Let's see. Added margins, left, right, and zero. Clean out layout. Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, reoccurring. We never did reoccurring. How do we enter reoccurring? I don't see a way to enter any reoccurring bills. For example, I have a credit card. I have a light bill that I pay every single month for the next foreseeable future, to have it automatically show up on the graph, and also to see a list of all those reoccurring payments. So we could edit them in the event that they change in the future. We could edit from the date going forward. Oh, is that phase 2? Okay, fine. That's a phase 2 thing. I think it says phase 2 in it. Okay, let's see if we could do the reoccurring and then we'll close off. And while that's happening, let's look at the landing. Oh, look at this. Affordly. Track every dollar with just $1. It's pretty good. Build the habit of tracking your expenses with simplest financial planner ever made. See your full year P&L at a glance. Income, expense, net profit. Everything you need, nothing you don't. The marketing is actually pretty good. Let's say that it's ideal for people that are not good with financial planning and don't like to do all of this spreadsheet stuff, but still need to be able to stay on top of their expenses with simple, easy to use tools. Oh, I've reached my limit. Okay, we'll have to upgrade to get this. Maybe I will. I don't know as yet. We'll see. Okay. Either way, this is good. We're gonna push this over to thing, and then we're gonna try to launch this thing too. So next week we'll try to tackle that. All right. So the recurring thing is being done. Yeah. You know what? So we're just gonna kind of close things off. I think we did a pretty good job. In fact, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's connect to GitHub. Connect project, Dwayne Brown. Transfer. Affordly planner. Sure. We could change that. Yeah, and then from Cloudflare, we're going to do Cloudflare. Let's launch our create a node database. We're going to go here. Connect with GitHub. There we go. Deploy. We're going to run into a build error here, and we're just going to get that sorted out. That's not a problem. Connect to project. Perfect. Good. So while that's being done, okay, so let's see what it's doing here. I'll help you add a recurring builds functionality. Let me first check what's already implemented in the backend, front end. Let me continue reading. Well, let me think. Complete API backend recurring, connect to D1, add a recurring endpoints to the front end client, create a recurring rule, components, list add functionality, add navigation to access recurring rules, include recurring rules to P&L calculations. Okay. Success. And we're gonna leave with a little bit of time for question and answer. Stream to Instagram stop. This could be because the maximum thing continue without Instagram. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So yes. Okay. Refresh. How do you enter a new transaction? I don't see any way on the home page to get to the recurring page or to be able to add recurring bills. Unless I'm missing if the deployment was made. Okay, so what are we missing here? Something broke. Okay, there we go. 4,000 in income, 2,600 in expense. I'm up by 1,400. Savings is 1,000. Need 100 more to allocate. I don't know where this. Okay, we'll come back to that in a bit. What else am I missing here? There we go. Add transaction, recurring bills. Add your first bill. So let's say cable, because we all know cable is expenses. $100 monthly. Utilities starting from January and optional. Okay. So I was able to successfully add a reoccurring expense. However, I don't see it showing up on the chart or anywhere on any of the months of net negatives. Right? Let's put this now 200. Let's put it as phone internet. Start January 2006. There we go. And it's still saying I'm up here. So I'll investigate why the recurring expenses aren't showing up in the calculations. Let me double check from the issue. Use financial hook only fetches transaction, but not fetch in projection. See the issue. Use financial hook only fetches transaction, but doesn't fetch recurring project. In the monthly calculation, I need to update the hook. Now I need to also use monthly transaction to hook to include the yes. Now let me update the monthly transactions. Yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. How come I have less thumbs up? What's going on here? Okay, considering the progress, I think this is good. All right, let's see. Refresh. There we go. Expenses hovering around 200.
Dwayne, here is your reminder.
Computer,
start workout.
Stop. So that means, and then down by 2,000 because my expenses are 6,000 for the year. Perfect. Okay. Now the only thing I want to do is I want to be able to if I'm viewing my expenses for the month where I could see the list of transactions, I want to be able to jump to any month. So either should be some kind of pill that we could kind of jump to the month or some kind of right and left arrow so that we could keep skipping until we get to the month for the current year that we're in. All right, so that's a wrap, at least on my part for now. cloud flare. Okay. Just to make sure I don't mess up my... Deploy the latest changes. Okay, that's good. All right, that's a wrap for me. I appreciate all the time, energy, and effort. If you got some value from this video, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. Give me a thumbs up. Ask any questions in the comments. It's been a pleasure. As always, thank you for the people that joined the live stream. Really means a lot. I appreciate the questions. I know you guys can't stick around for the full length of time that I'm on this live stream, but that's okay. I appreciate you even jumping in, saying hi, bouncing back out, doing whatever you're doing. So with that, have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you in another video.